But the WNBA All-Star Game ratings have come out, and all I could think of right off the bat was 4 little letters. F-A-F-O. F around and find out. You bleep around and find out what this league looks like without Caitlin Clark being involved in your biggest events.
They swore up and down the WNBA playoffs would survive just fine without Caitlin Clark. Sure, just like the Titanic was fine after greeting an iceberg. The moment she went down, ratings didn't merely slide, they swan-dived off a cliff. Without so much as a parachute. Fans vanished faster than free pizza at a college dorm, and now the league's standing in the dark, wondering who cut the power. If this is what fine looks like, I'd hate to see their version of a disaster.
The New York Liberty is playing the best style of basketball. They are playing the best basketball currently in the WNBA. And when they just had a nationally televised game on ESPN against the Chicago Sky, against Angel Reese, who was one of the biggest names in the WNBA, they had around 600,000 viewers, which is so low. You cannot make fans watch what they don't want to watch. But all we heard last year is if the fans were only watching the Indiana Fever, only watching games Caitlin Clark was playing in, then they weren't real fans and they didn't like basketball. And you just had so much media and WNBA personalities and even players just shunning the new fans.
Right now, the WNBA feels like someone accidentally flipped on demo mode for professional basketball and then walked away. These are supposed to be primetime, high-stakes playoff games, yet they've got all the excitement of watching. Beige paint, dry slow motion, bad lighting, no payoff. The problem? The league's star power hasn't just dimmed in recent weeks, it's practically evaporated.
Fever Sky tickets dropped 71% on TickPick after Caitlin Clark injury. The get-in price for the Chicago Sky versus Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever game was $86. After Caitlin Clark's injury announcement is now down to $25. And you Angel Reese fangirls will still believe and think that Angel Reese is the reason why people are watching the WNBA. Since y'all want to make it about race, this white girl over here is the reason why fans are tuning in to watch the WNBA.
First, Caitlin Clark, the golden ticket, the walking headline. The reason half of America even remembered the WNBA was a thing is out. And not had an off night or taking a breather out, but injured, gone for the playoffs out. The one player who could turn a game into an event just got sidelined. And when she disappeared, so did roughly 70% of the TV audience. That's only a hair more than the number of people who bail from a movie theater when the projector goes dark.
So check this out. The game on June 7th, the tickets were originally $86. Same seats, now $25. After her injury announcement, 71% drop in price. Over 71% drop in price. Because she's not going to be in the game.
Then Angel Reese, the court's drama queen and social media's engagement factory, vanished too. Injured, out, gone. It's as if the WNBA's biggest names made a secret pact to see just how dull the league could get if they all went on vacation simultaneously.
You see, this is exactly what we were talking about. WNBA All-Star ratings are in for 2025, and it is down 40%. 40% from last year. That's bad. That is really bad. We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing. This is bad news for the WNBA.
And as if the basketball gods were running their own roast, Sydney Colson gone, Ari McDonald gone. And for the grand finale of this train wreck Sunday, Lexi Hull just went down too. Only this one wasn't bad luck. It was referee-assisted carnage. The officiating has been so suspect lately that in any other profession, HR would have already walked them out with their stuff in a cardboard box. Hull's injury was basically the league's version of a waiter dumping hot soup in your lap and then charging you for a refill.
So if you consult the graph that I've just posted here, you'll see that nobody is watching the WNBA. That's the reason why the WNBA isn't making... Oh, sorry, I missed a few of them. So this is the reason why the WNBA isn't making any money, and they're not getting paid. It gets worse.
The injuries aren't just bad, they're catastrophic. At this point, every game feels less like a battle for the win and more like a survival contest to see who can make it through the night without shredding a ligament. Worse, the replacements aren't exactly moving the needle. You could air them side by side with a live stream of grass growing, and it'd be a tight ratings race. The audience hasn't merely dipped, it's vanished. Empty seats, hollow arenas, and vibes so flat you can hear the ball echo off the court. This is supposed to be sports entertainment, but the entertainment just got yanked out like a cheap battery from a dollar store remote. Right now, the WNBA is basically trying to sell front row tickets to a concert after firing the headliner and putting the sound guy on stage to hum into the mic.
Given Clark's unprecedented star power, her being confined to the Fever's Gamebridge Fieldhouse sidelines was always going to impact ratings, and she was actually there. It was her team. And the fans sent a clear message.
Oh, don't even get me started. This season's referees have been calling games like they skimmed the Wikipedia page for basketball rules 5 minutes before tip-off. Half the time they blow the whistle, nobody, not the players, not the fans, not even the refs themselves seems to know why. The other half, they wave off dangerous plays like they're nothing, and then everyone acts surprised when another athlete ends up sidelined. At this rate, the league might as well start tracking ref-induced injuries on the official stat sheet. But the real problem? Without its top stars, the WNBA's big sell right now is basically, asterisk, come watch the backups, give it their all, while we cross our fingers that nobody else's knee detonates, asterisk. That's not exactly a marketing slogan that packs arenas. And this isn't just a streak of bad luck, it's a systemic flaw. When your entire product leans on a handful of stars, you're one injury away from a collapse. The league has been milking Clark, Reese, and a couple of others so hard for ratings that the second they disappeared, the whole thing folded like a tent with no poles.
The person who really should get all the blame is Kathy Engelberg. Yes, this is Kathy Engelberg's doing. You know why? Because she has incompetent referees.
What's left now feels less like playoff basketball and more like preseason scrimmages dragged onto national TV, fans tune in expecting fireworks. But all they get are damp sparklers in a windstorm. The WNBA at the moment is like going to Disneyland, only to find Space Mountain shut down, Mickey Mouse calling in sick, and the churros stand out of sugar. It's rough, and this isn't just a short-term hiccup, it's an existential problem. If the league can't figure out how to keep fans engaged without leaning on the same 3 names, it's done. Because here's the reality, injuries are part of sports. But when they happen in the NBA, the machine keeps running because the league's built layers multiple stars, rivalries, storylines to keep the product alive. The WNBA hasn't done that. And if they don't adapt fast, the future is smaller crowds, fewer TV slots, and endless, remember when Caitlin Clark was playing, highlight reels. And when that day comes, no amount of motivational hashtags will stop the slide.
So lads, the All-Star ratings were confirmed, and I have to say, not ideal. Not ideal for the WNBA, and I'll take a look. So, the WNBA All-Star Game had 2.19 million viewers. Like, we can't forget last year peaked at over 4 million. This, in fact, is less viewership than an average Caitlin Clark game.
The WNBA doesn't need a minor adjustment or a little patience. It needs a full-on identity reboot. Protect the stars. Create more stars. Fix the officiating so players aren't limping off the court like stunt doubles in an action flick. And, for the love of basketball, stop acting like losing half your headliners isn't a 5-alarm problem right now. The league is like a half-eaten sandwich in the back of the fridge, technically still there, but nobody's excited to touch it. The competitive juice it's running on is more like lukewarm tap water in a Gatorade bottle. With the marquee names off the grid, games have drifted into this awkward limbo where you can't tell if you're watching a playoff showdown or a Tuesday night YMCA scrimmage. You can feel it in the air fewer jerseys in the stands, shorter lines at concessions, and fans bailing at halftime because the scoreboard is crawling in the 40s. The energy in some arenas is so low you could hook it up to a flashlight and get maybe 5 minutes of light.
This should be a straight up wake up call. With the ticket prices dropping, and now you see the show, the ratings fell tremendously, and it was an awful game. So that large percent of people who did not watch, they probably had a better Saturday than everybody else. We just got to be real.
Then there's the replacement wave. The next in line athletes have stepped up technically, but without that star power, it's like replacing a blockbuster lead with a random understudy pulled from the back of the program. You can't expect audiences to suddenly connect with brand new faces in the middle of the postseason, especially when half of them don't have signature moves, standout moments, or even recognizable celebrations yet, and the officiating? Making it worse. Every shaky whistle doesn't just break the rhythm, it drains what little intensity is left. These aren't close calls. They're momentum killers, the kind that feel like someone hit pause on the game to answer a text. Even the commentators sound strained, trying to hype up a basic mid-range jumper as if it's a game changer. You can show a replay a dozen times, but without the big personalities to sell it, the magic just isn't there. The marketing arm isn't helping either. Instead of shifting toward fresh storylines or building new rivalries, they're still pumping out highlight reels of the stars who aren't even playing. Nostalgia's nice, but it doesn't convince people to stick around for games missing those names. Right now, the promotion is clinging to ghosts while the current product fades in. Real time.
In the three-point contest or the All-Star game, both of which she was planning to do because of a groin injury. This goes right to the Indiana Fever management and leadership as well. Better know whatever consequences the WNBA suffers from Caitlin Clark not being around, as will you.
On social media, engagement is dropping faster than a limp pancake off the spatula. Where there used to be endless debate threads, viral highlights, and clips dominating timelines, it's now mostly crickets. The occasional highlight still pops up, but even those can't touch the numbers they used to pull. Without the spark of heated rivalries or the magnetic personalities of certain players, the conversation dies, and with it goes the casual fans' reason to come back, even the sponsorship. Buzz is cooling. Brands that once saw the WNBA as a fast-rising, high-energy product are starting to rethink how much they want to pour into a league where star power can vanish overnight. It's not about disrespecting the game, it's about losing the very hook that made it broadly marketable. The financial fallout hasn't fully hit yet, but the ripple effects are coming. And when they do, it's going to sting. On the court, the defense has grit, sure, but without offensive fireworks. The product leans on grinded-out possessions that only the hardcore purists appreciate. The wider audience craves theatrics, soaring alley-oops, logo threes, buzzer beaters, and crowd eruptions that make your skin tingle. Right now, the grind-to-excitement ratio is badly skewed, and the imbalance is bleeding the energy right out of the league.
I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the next 2 weeks while Caitlin Clark is out with the quad strain.
The injury crisis needs urgent attention now. That means rethinking training protocols, tightening officiating standards, and reevaluating scheduling demands. If top players keep going down, the league will be stuck in permanent recovery mode instead of building any real momentum. Fans can handle a dip in performance, but not a never-ending carousel of missing stars. There's the other elephant in the room, the total lack of contingency planning. Instead of shifting broadcasts to spotlight the active players and give them a larger-than-life presence, coverage is stuck in a holding pattern, constantly waiting for when so-and-so comes back. In other sports, this is where the machine kicks in. Highlight reels, big interviews, and exclusive features to make secondary stars feel like must-watch attractions. The WNBA should be doing that yesterday. Even the on-court style could use a jolt. With so many injuries, teams have defaulted to overly cautious basketball, which slows everything down. Instead of high-paced action, you're getting half-court sets, safe mid-range jumpers, and methodical ball movement. That might protect knees and ankles for now, but it's not protecting the TV ratings, and it's definitely not winning over new fans.
And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down.
The atmosphere in arena says it all. Sections that once exploded after big plays are now offering polite applause for routine layups. The thunder of the crowd has been replaced by scattered cheers and the occasional half-hearted wave to keep people awake. Without that electric energy, broadcasts feel lifeless, and lifeless broadcasts send casual viewers reaching for the remote. If there's one lesson in this downward spiral, it's that no pro league can afford to hinge its entire appeal on just a few stars. Instead of slipping into wait until next season mode, the WNBA should be pumping personality into every broadcast, ramping up interactive fan experiences, and making every matchup feel like a must-watch spectacle no matter who's on the court. The real danger isn't just losing this year's audience, it's breaking the habit. Once fans stop making the WNBA part of their routine, winning them back becomes an uphill battle. And right now, every forgettable game is one step closer to that point of no return.
So, lads, this is very, very concerning if you're the WNBA coming into the CBA. It is the worst possible thing that can happen, is the ratings coming out. It is the worst possible thing because you cannot work on the assumption anymore that the league's TV deal is going up. You cannot work on that assumption because the ratings are down over 50%. Fever games are down 53% with Clark out, and it's only national televised games. And
if this trend keeps up, there's a very real chance the postseason could end without anyone outside the hardcore fan base even noticing. And that's the nightmare scenario, a championship that barely registers in the public eye. The league's survival in moments like this depends on reinvention, not the slow. Committee approved, will roll out changes next year, kind but bold. High-impact moves that grab attention right now. Because if things keep limping along, the damage won't just be about one forgettable postseason. It'll be about cementing the idea that the WNBA only matters when a tiny handful of players are active. And once that perception sticks, it can take years to scrape off.